GFD is a BFD. Go for Donny. Check out all the Go for Donny swag and the GoForDonny.com website. And remember to hashtag HTFU.
So those of you who don't know about this show, it's called Naked and Afraid. It's a Discovery show. It's won a few Emmys, I think. It's been around for, geez, it seems like 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to work on 5 episodes of Naked and Afraid. And that's where I met Bo down in Guyana on an episode of Naked and Afraid, where Bo was a contestant, and he not only survived, he thrived with his partner. And so, those of you that don't know, what we do is we bring a couple together. They never meet each other. They each have to bring one survival item. Before all that happens, production goes and sets out a path of where we're going to drop them off, the insertion point. We also kind of scout around to see the best areas might be for their survival camp that would have, the amenities like water. Doesn't have to be drinkable water, or wood, a source to burn. And then we also set up the extraction point. So what we do is the first time they meet each other is when they start talking to camera and they disrobe and they grab their survival item in their pouch, and then they go over to meet their partner for the first time where they're naked, and then they get their map and they go on their way and they try to survive. So back me up real quick on how you decided to be a contestant on it. Did you reach out to them or did they reach out to you?
Yeah, I did. So it's odd. My kids who were in high school at the time, they saw the very first episode that had EJ on it, and so my son comes down. He's upstairs watching TV. He says, "Hey, Dad, you got to see this show." And I'm like, "Okay." So I go upstairs and I watch it. I watched the very first episode aired, and I was like, "Oh shit, I can do this. I'm like, totally can do this." So I sat down at the computer that night. This is like that night, 7, 8, 9 o'clock night, whatever it was. I go to the Discovery Channel website. I fill out the application, um, and hit send. And like 9 o'clock the next morning, somebody calls and says, "Hey, we're interested in having you on the show." And I was like, "Well, shit, that was easy."
That was quick.
Now, caveat that with, and at this time they had only aired one episode, um, and I was like, "Hey, I'm an active duty special forces officer. There's no way that they don't want to have me on the show. Like they're going to want to have me on the
Right.
show, you know."
Hell
So I
yeah.
was pretty confident someone was going to give me a call, and that was the whole shtick. Like that was kind of my end, because that's unique. And
Smart. Yeah.
so yeah, so yeah, and then
So
it was just a negotiation about dates, about when I could take leave, because for anybody in a job, taking almost 4 weeks of leave, including travel to where you're going and 21 days there and travel back, you're looking at a month. And so for me, I told him my availability because I was changing jobs from one to the other, and typically in between those jobs is when you take up to 30 days of leave. So that's what I did. I left my current job because I knew when that was going to occur. And I told him, "Hey, here's my window. I can do the show then, I can't do it any other time." Like I was very firm on the time. So,
did the Army, can I ask, did the Army or the military or DOD see this as a recruiting opportunity for you and for them? For them more than not for you.
no, no, just the opposite. This is a long
Oh,
story. So at the
sweet
time, I
Jesus.
was in a joint job in Norfolk, and so it's not an Army unit. This is a joint services unit. My boss was an Air Force colonel. Our big boss was a Navy admiral, and so when I knew I wanted to be on the show, I knew this is going to be an issue. Like having service members naked on TV, you know, at best case problematic, So I fill out my leave form, I turn it in, and I tell my boss, I told him, "Hey, I'm going to Guyana. I'm going to shoot this show called Naked and Afraid." And he's like, "I think it's pretty cool, Bo." He says, "But the admiral probably needs to take a look at this." So he forwards it up to the admiral. The admiral, he's a 1-star admiral at the time. He gets it and goes, "Yeah, this probably needs to go to Transcom, our boss, like the bigger headquarters, a 4-star general." So he sends it to Transcom. Transcom's a 4-star Air Force guy. He gets it and goes, the Army really needs to weigh in on this. We can't, like, as an Air Force, I'm not going to weigh in on this. So he forwards it over to, at the time, General Valinsky, the Army Public Affairs Officer, 2-star general. He gets it and is like, "Oh hell no! Like this is a stupid idea." And so he recommends against approval of this. Now he can't approve, disapprove. He's not a commander. He's not in my chain of command. And so he sends it back down. So it comes back down to our Navy admiral, who's our boss, and he says, calls me in his office and says, "Hey, Bo, here's the Army's take on it. They are recommending against this. They don't think this is a good idea." And he says, "So what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Hey, sir, here's my leave form. Either you guys are going to sign it, and I'll go do the show, or no one will sign it, and I won't do it." And he turns to my Air Force boss. His name is Rudy Cherry, great dude. If he's out there, I know he's retired like me now. But if he looks at it, he goes, "Bo, I think it's cool. I'll sign it." He signs my leave form, and
Nice.
I went and did the show. So,
And there was no repercussions after that. No one said
well,
anything after that.
the flash to bang on a show is very long, right? So we shot the show in November, December of 2015. And it didn't air until next year. So I'd already left that unit. I was already in my new unit, and it aired. And then my current boss called me in the office and said, "Hey, who signed your leave form?" And I was like, "Right here, it's Colonel Woody Cherry." But that was it. No other repercussions. And I think that's because it went really well. Like I portrayed the Army in a light that the Army would have wanted the Army portrayed in. And that was a conscious portrayal. I got some great advice from EJ. I was working at Bragg at the time that his episode aired, and I was like, "Man, EJ's here." I looked him up in the directory, and I emailed him and said, "Hey, I want to get together. They want me to be on the show. They get afraid that you did. Can you give me some advice?" So I go see EJ, and he gives me the best advice ever for the show, and I think it's one of the reasons why my episode came out so favorable to me. And he said, "Hey, don't give them anything that can make you look bad. So if you cuss, if you say something, that they can use, or you get in an argument, they're going to play that up because that's what reality TV is. They don't care about your reputation, or they care about making a TV show that gets clicks and that people want to watch."
Yep.
And he's like, "Hey, they'll take audio from one day and match it with video from another day." And so I went in very aware, and I was like, "Okay." So he told me all the tricks that had happened to him in his episode, and I was like,
Nice.
They're not playing the tricks on me. Like, putting in bleeps where you didn't cuss. That's the easiest way to make someone look like an idiot. Is like you play the thing and beep 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 beep. Now the person may have never said any of those things, but that's what the power of production can do. Is they can shape it any way you want. Or like I said, take audio from one, video from another, match it up, resplice the audio so that their things are different. And so I went in very conscious of that, and was very measured in my language. And I was still me. You got Bo Stuart on tape, but I was just very conscious of what I said, how I said it, because I'm portraying the Army, and I want it to come out with a favorable impression. So.
Well, I think you did a great job. I mean, you think that they would have called and said thank you for showing us in a good light and showing our units in a good light, and what kind of soldier you'd become, because fuck, dude, you like I said, you didn't just survive, you thrived out there. When I got there, you guys. So, I mean, I want to go back to the story. You can tell about how you came up with the idea to bring the netting and your 550 cord, which was brilliant. But when I showed up, you guys, I had to replace someone. So when I show up to set where the survival camp is, dude is making a rack. Bo is making a rack, right, out of wood, because he has to have a rack to be able to put all of his weapons, all of his spears, because he has so many he's fashioned. So he needs to make a rack to put all these up. I found that freaking pretty awesome. I don't know. That was one of my coolest things I thought about the episode new.
Well, the thing is, you need something to do. Like, if you sit there and do nothing, one, it makes for terrible TV. And if you watch other episodes of the show, and I feel sorry for some of the producers, depending on what contestants you get, because some of them will be like, "I will just sit here and drink water," and you'll make it 21 days as long as you don't quit and you drink water, even if you don't find any food. you will make it 21 days. Like that is not going to kill you. But trying to make a show out of someone sitting around drinking water for 21 days, it does not make for good TV. If you're a producer, that's not how you get promoted and get into more shows, So
Yeah.
that's when you see some producers augmenting the show. And, I think the worst one ever is when they had the piglet in the trap, in the hanging news trap. You're like, and it was obviously not a wild pig. And it was that, that's not how, like, it was a joke.
Don't make it up.
I don't know who was a producer. I don't think it was Jim. Maybe it was, or who knows. But yeah, and so, but the producer had to do something. They paid a lot of money to have all these people here, all this crew, all this money. You can't just let them sit there and do nothing. Like, you have to create a show. And I think that's the thing that I learned most about that reality TV experience is that, hey, these people, they got to make a show. And if they have to create drama to do that, because you're not doing anything, they will.
They sure do. They'll create it. Now, tell me the thought process behind you bringing the netting, because I found that fascinating.
Yeah, so EJ gave me some pretty good advice, and he came in and said, "Hey, you're going to bring a bunch of like 4 or 5 items, and the producer is going to pick from those items the things that they think will make the most interesting show." And I'm like, okay. And from the time I watched EJ's episode, I had a chance to watch, I think, up through season 2. So I had a chance to watch, I don't know, maybe 20, 25, 30 episodes before I went on mine.
Dang,
And so
good
I
research.
just watched every episode. I watched what people brought. And then I was like, hey, no one brought a mosquito net, like an army, you know what they are, but army issue mosquito net goes over a cot. So it's really big. And I was like, man, that would be good to, one, keep bugs off when I need to keep bugs off. And 2, I could use it for a fishing net. And I could modify it because the mosquito net doesn't come with 550 sewn around the bottom. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, can you get the sewing machine out and sew me 550 on the bottom of this thing? So now I have like
Brilliant.
5 yards of 550 cord, which, cordage in a survival scenario is super helpful. And so, yeah, so I sewed it in there, and then I was good to go. And then when Jim saw it, he said, hey, lay all your stuff, and we're going to figure out what we're going to do. They saw the mosquito net, and they were like, oh, yeah, that's what we're using. Because no one had used that item before. And so that's why they picked it. It wasn't like, it was just one of the items that I brought. Like I brought it, and a lesson on this for future people on the show, you will never, ever see a water purifier on the show. But that's one of the items I brought. I'm like, hey, water purifier. They will never do that. One, because it's a crutch, right? You could just sit there and purify water and drink it and do nothing and be successful. They want you to drink the water. They want you to get sick. They want you to be vomiting, because that makes awesome TV. You drinking water and never getting sick does not make for good TV. And so you will never see anybody on Naked and Afraid ever be allowed to have a water purifier of any sort. Just one of the rules from the show. And I stopped watching the show, I think, shortly after after season 5, I was like, okay, I've seen them all. I know how this thing goes. But as far as I know, no one ever has used a water purifier on the show.
And so you got, I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, I showed up, I think you and Debbie were sitting under the, midday, sitting under the net, so that way no bugs got to you guys. I mean,
black flies. Oh my God, I was so sick. I mean, you saw us just welted up with those bites from those black flies. It was terrible. So I was like, hey, we'll put up a little thing here, so we're out of the bugs, which was awesome. Not just the little time that you spent in there not getting ate up by bugs was well worth bringing the mosquito net. So.
And we were there during the dry season, so they said that those flies were worse than the mosquitoes that are there during the wet season.
Mosquitoes were not that bad. They just, I think, because there wasn't a lot of standing water around, minus the lake. But the mosquitoes weren't bad. But those flies, oh, geez, they were terrible.
Any crazy moments that you and Debbie had, or you had from start to finish there that you want to share with? Because I mean, I know, every episode was different for me. I mean, everyone got knackered a different way. I mean, I had to, whenever the contestants were looked at by our medic, we had to have a production or producer camera rolling on it. which I had to roll on a few, and some of the things that I had to see through that viewfinder, I just can't unsee. Ticks everywhere.
Yeah, I think the thing that people probably that you wouldn't appreciate it, and I did. I tried to prepare for this, but it didn't help that much. Was the not having shoes part is such a limiting factor. Like that's why you can't outrun the crew because they got shoes on and you don't, and you're not going anywhere faster than they can. It's just it is so hard to move around. There's so many thorns and rocks and edges and insects. It's that part was harder than I thought because I had never. I've been living working in the woods for a long time as a soldier, but I had never done it barefoot.
Yeah,
And so I tried to
yeah.
prepare just after watching, like I said, 30 or so episodes. So I came like completely tanned, hit the tanning bed. So I showed up. I did not want to get sunburned because if you've seen one of the
Ah,
episodes, the people got
yeah.
sunburned so bad, like they got sun poisoning, and I was like, okay, that's easily avoidable. Just show up as tanned as possible. I don't have to worry about sunburn as much. Um, I walked around my neighborhood for weeks barefoot, like on the pavement, and
Oh,
that's rocks, and that did toughen my feet a little, but not enough. Like it was definitely not enough. So,
that would be my weakness. My feet are like baby feet. Ever since I was a kid, I could never, everyone else were walking down to the river or the lake, with no shoes on, and that was not me. Even little pebbles, anything. I still have baby feet, and I did take care of them when I was in the infantry. I learned, to take care of baby feet, but man, that I wouldn't be able to move two steps. I would tap
yeah,
out.
yeah, it is much more difficult than people imagine.
I don't know. It's hard enough. I was out there with all my clothes, with a jungle shirt, hat, all this shit, and it was hard and it sucked. So that's why, every cast member I would see, I'm like, I just don't, man, no. I'm like, you guys are nuts. You guys are crazy. You're a different breed. That's for
Yeah.
sure. And
Well,
what was the accolades you got, Bo? Do you have a medal? Do you have a plaque, a key to the jungle? What did you get
oh, from
from
Discovery,
uh from
nothing.
surviving?
No, nothing, nothing. Like I thought maybe they would send me like I don't know, maybe a complimentary CD of my episode or email. Not nothing, not a mention, like, nothing. It was surprisingly like I shot the episode and I got a call a couple weeks later. They wanted to do the voiceovers for stuff, and so I went into some studio in Virginia Beach and I did the voiceovers for that. And that's the last I heard from anybody at this. Like no, nothing. Like not a peep.
Wow. Wow. Talking about bring you in and crank you out, man. I mean, jeez. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
I was thinking like because at the time and around season 4 or 5, like our episode was one of the most highly rated. It was like it went off the charts for Discovery. It was a great episode.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, sure, someone's going to call me up and be like, hey, great job or whatever. Or here's a little thing. I don't know, nothing. Yeah, nothing.
Here's a nice
They did call me a
Discovery
couple times
etched
when they started doing
knife.
the longer
What's
ones,
that?
and they did the 40 days and 60 days. They're like, hey, do you want to do that? And I'm like, I can't get 40 or 60 days off. I'm a soldier. I have to work. I can't take that much time off of work.
I was down in Mexico in Quintana Roo, down by Tulum, when we were scouting some cenotes for their XL or their first XL or one of those their spin-offs they're doing.
Yeah,
And I'm so glad I didn't do that because after doing what, four, five of them, man, it's a lot. It's a lot just being out there in the elements, especially on like my end. Everyone else, they fly in, you might come in a day before, you do your 21 days, the 22nd day you're gone. I'm there like at least a week before,
yeah,
plotting everything out, walking through exactly where you go.
yeah,
I mean, I have to make sure, walking through the water, it just sucks. Until you guys are done, and then we have to wrap out as well. And then, they tack on another episode, then, you're there for 2 months. And it really grinds you down, like being
oh
out
yeah.
there.
Spending all day in the woods, walking around, doing stuff. is a lot harder than people think. Like it's it is demanding, and I know. Like I mean, I watch you guys. You guys are like because Debbie and I would sleep until I don't know. We slept in decent hour, whatever it was. But you guys had to get up like ridiculously early, especially in Guyana because the base camp where you guys were staying was so far away that
Yeah, yeah.
now you had to get on a jeep, go there in the dark, get on a boat, row across the boat to come over there to get
Oh, that's
to
right.
get there, and it was like it's and then that in reverse going back, and then Debbie and I were already it's already got dark. I'm going to sleep for the night. Like we're racked out.
Yeah, it's amazing. Some people still think that what the industry is just so glamorous, and you do get to see some cool stuff and do some cool things. But man, I mean, the grind is something else. I
Oh
mean, there's a
yes.
lot more grinding than there is glamorous days. Or
And maybe this is different because it is a reality show and you're in the woods, but like that definitely broke my idea of like this Hollywood glamour. I was like, nah, John, the producer, he's out here suffering, getting ate up by bugs like everybody else. Like, there's no, it's not a different, it's not that much different than what I'm doing. He just got shoes
yeah,
and clothes on, but he's still suffering all the things, other than the hunger, but other than that. So,
yeah, we're not going back to our motorhome, singing in a
yeah,
motorhome, or some retrieve even a hut or a tent. I think, man, we were in Mexico. I did an episode down there, and we had to build steps because it was like in a jungle, mountain, hill, and man, walking through the jungle is one thing. Walking like add some elevation, so where you got to walk up a hill, and slipping and then reaching out to grab those fucking thorns everywhere. Oh man, it just. I mean, I think I lost weight on it just because you were walking around so much and trying to, trudge through the jungle. So you actually you and Debbie survived. I think I was there for your caiman grab. You guys, yeah, I was there
yeah.
for you. Got some fish as well, and you caught a
Well,
caiman. And
yeah, it's funny because the other thing I learned, we actually caught two caiman, but they only, and I know that the show is 21 days of stuff and you got 41 minutes to show. But I was like, we caught two caiman. It would have been great to show both of those, but I get it. When you're a producer, you're like, we've already shown one caiman. Why show
right,
another one?
yeah. Now he's just flaunting. Now he's just really thriving. He's like,
Right. Yeah,
screw
exactly.
all you guys. Was that the
Oh,
craziest thing you killed out there in the bush?
yeah, actually, the caiman's probably definitely the most exotic. Yeah, definitely the most exotic. I had an interesting uh, experience, and this is like a first like kind of survival thing. When I was at Fort Drum, we had a field. We were in the field for an extended period of time on some training. And if you, for people who have been to Fort Drum before, the training area, it is overrun with raccoons. Like raccoons are everywhere.
Really?
Like so, you eat your MREs, you collect up, put them in trash bags, and like your company XL will come by with a truck and pick up all the trash or whatever it is. But if they're there for a even a moment where they're not guarded, the raccoons come out of the woodwork and tear open the garbage bags, get the MREs, and it just turned into a giant trash dump. And then soldiers got to pick all that up and back it back up. And we got sick of doing that. I was at the company XO at the time. I'm the one that going around picking up all this trash. And I had gone back to where we were staying, and and the raccoons had got into my rucksack. Like they had like all my food was inside. They had got in my rucksack, gnawed in the side. I was mad as hell, and I was like, you know what? I'm fucking getting rid of these raccoons. So I got 550 cord out and went and rigged up a hanging snare trap. Um, and that trap wasn't up for 20 minutes after I walked away, and I caught a raccoon in it. And I was like, that was my first time I had ever like, as a kid,
Holy
I did
crap!
stuff in the woods, but where I made like I'm going to catch this raccoon and made a trap, and then 20 minutes later I catch this raccoon. I'm like, holy shit, that was pretty cool.
Now,
And
did you leave it
I
hanging
was
there
a
for all
legend
the other
amongst the company.
raccoon?
What's that?
You got to leave it hanging there. You got to make an example out of it, and for
Oh
all the
no,
other
well no.
raccoons to see.
Here's the funny part. It was not. It wasn't like the clean. It wasn't a clean kill. Like I heard it, and then this raccoon is going batshit crazy, and it's dark, right? So I cut on my headlamp, and this raccoon is swinging on this piece of 550 from this, and he's He's madder than shit, right? He's got his arm and neck caught in this piece of 550, and I got my e-tool out, and we're playing like pinata with the raccoon. Me and my mortar section, we're trying to get kill this raccoon that now is really pissed off. So yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't the clean like, oh, snap, and now the raccoon's dead. No, the raccoon was caught, and he's mad as hell. He's fighting for his life. So,
oh my God, raccoons! We have ninja squirrels out here in LA, where the at like Rancho Park. There's a golf course here in West LA. And man, these little buggers, they come out and they will get into your bag and chew a hole through it so quick to get any nuts or any trail mix and then take off. I mean, they're so fast, like little
yeah, and it's like
ninjas.
you're training them. The ones that are around like people all the time, they figured
Yep.
out. They're like, okay, here's how you get the food. Like, zip with my claw, get in here and get the peanut butter. Like all they're quick about that.
We're definitely not good about it. Well, hey guys, don't forget to stay tuned for Switchy Channel 2, where we're going to get to ask Bo some more questions to get to know him a little better. And I also wanted to thank all of the audience and listeners. Bo, we're up to almost 23,000 subscribers now. And a lot of those folks are in countries like Mexico, India, Ukraine, UK, Australia, and even Russia and Bangladesh. So it's crazy seeing where everyone's watching. So please keep watching. And I also have a website, Bo. It's called GoForDonny.com. And on that website, I have some pictures and videos and some fun stuff about me, because it's all about me. And I have swag, Go for Donny stuff. So I'll have to send you some stuff to you over there in Italy, which I have to ask you about on Switch Channel 2. I also have some stickers, some little, cool little things for your Pelican cases. So
Nice.
yeah, don't forget to come and check that out, you guys, whenever you get a chance. So are there, before we go to Switch and Switch Channel 2, any fun, crazy stories from the military that you may have had? I mean, we did some stupid shit to soldiers. God, one time we had a guy came in and he was just popping off way too much. And so one night, our whole platoon, first platoon, waited. And we had our barracks had these balconies so you can get to the windows. And so the time came when everyone went to his door and was knocking on his door because we were going to go get him. And myself and someone else was out on the balcony watching him as he looked down under the crack because he could see everyone. And then so we took the screen off and started going in the window. And he looked back at us. He opened the door for everyone else to go inside and grab him. We tape him up, of course, and we maybe slap him around a little bit and put him into a casket because being in the old guard, we trained for funerals and carrying caskets. So we had a casket around. So we
We
put
have
him in
that
the
laying around.
casket. Yep, threw him out on I think it was General Reimer's lawn, one of the 4 stars at Fort McNair, until the MPs came and found him, and then we had to go and
So,
get it and
so
bring it
funny
back. And he
enough,
beat the
I
shit
went
out
to
of him.
high school with his daughter. So
Oh, you went to
we were
with
classmates in Korea. So
Annie. Wait, did we talk about this before? Maybe
I
we
think
did talk about
I think we
this.
did. Yeah, I think we did.
Oh yeah, we did. Oh, Annie, I love the
Yeah,
Rhymers. They were so sweet. Annie's
yeah.
such. I
Great.
met the Rhymers. Annie and I were friends. I remember rollerblading around Fort McNair as a young soldier at E3, E4, and saw Anne and her mom out back fishing in the Potomac. And so I kind of say something, hey, swinging rock around, and then they invited me in for some lemonade, and I'm like, sure, I mean, this is kind of cool. And so become friends with Anne. She was going to school, so she'd come back every once in a while, and I'd keep rollerblading around. I'd see Mrs. Reimer, and the weirdest part was whenever I'd go over there to the quarters and just being there when General Reimer was there. Just the nicest people in the world too.
Yeah,
But I forgot you went to school with her. That's so cool. Such a small
yeah.
world. Literally a small world. So do you have any crazy stories? Did you put any soldiers through anything?
Yeah.
Other
So
than like getting a key to like a parade field?
yeah,
Did
I
they
got
exist?
two good ones that I got to tell. Just the ones that stick with me. First, when I was lieutenant, so I'm the company XO at the time. This is like right after the raccoon incident. So we get deployed to Panama for the jungle operations training course. So we go down there, and so we're running a live fire range in Panama. And so as the company XO, I'm in the support by fire overwatch position. So there's a machine gun section in front of me, and there's a platoon running that. I'm there with the mortar section, and so it's a live fire. And so there's a little objective built out there of a couple Connex stands that are made look like a little, a building complex. And so the plan is a typical infantry attack. Like, we start from the support by fire position. We're firing machine gun fire. My mortar section is firing mortars that are landing. As you remember, you can actually drop mortars on the objective when soldiers have to walk there. So they're dropping the mortar rounds behind there. The machine guns are shooting at the objective, and the other two platoons come around. One platoon sets up the breach, and they put in Bangalore torpedoes. They blow up the wire.
Nice.
They establish the support by fire position, and the assault platoon is now coming in to assault the objective. And I got my binoculars out because I'm probably, I don't know, 700-800 meters away. So I got my binoculars out, and I got my radio, my RTO on my mortars. I'm telling them stop firing. I'm waiting for the signal to tell the machine guns here to stop firing. So I'm watching out there, and I see a couple of soldiers go through the breach, and I see a soldier goes up and he starts swatting his hands, and he takes off his helmet and throws it down, and then he starts taking off and then not just him, it's like one soldier, two soldier, three soldier, four. Everybody starts getting up and just throwing shit and running, ripping off their helmet, and I'm like, holy shit, what the hell? I'm like, something's bad wrong, right? And I'm far enough away where I can barely see what it is, but soldiers are waving their hands, and so emergency ceasefire for in a range is this. I mean, stop firing, right? So I'm like, hey, ceasefire, ceasefire, and I'm thinking there's an accident, like somebody got shot, like someone's giving them, when they're all doing this, that's bad, right? I mean, something bad has happened, and I'm like, holy shit! And so I take off running, and I'm trying to get to there as fast as I can. It's between us, it's a huge open field before you get to where they are. And I get running. As I get closer, I hear soldiers yelling, and they're like, run, bees! And I was like,
oh no,
oh shit! So I turn around, and it looks like, how like in the cartoons when you see the bee swarm, and it's like, and it's angry and it's chasing people. That is exactly what it looked like. So those mill vans that were the buildings, apparently they're killer bees. So this killer bee nest is inside this mill van, and when they
good God
set off the breach and start shooting there, and the smoke came out, those bees went crazy, and they came out and stung the first thing they could find, which was the assault platoon coming through. And now, literally, an infantry company is about 120 people. All of us running like little bitches, running like, I mean, these bees are stinging. Everybody's getting stung. Like, fortunately, the only ones who did not get stung was me in the mortar section and the machine gun section that was 700 meters away, because we would never start running before they got to us, and so we're all running, and it was chaos. Like, there's nothing but abandoned weapons and helmets. People would just like a yard sale, just shit is everywhere. And then now it's a medical emergency because these soldiers are, I mean, stung up everywhere. They had breathed the bees in. People were stung inside their mouth. And then the people who are allergic, they're swelling up, like their eyes, their slits. The medics are full time. Like, everybody's out. We're like pulling out stingers.
Wow.
We had to call a medevac to get all these guys to the hospital. Because even if you're like not allergic to bees, if you get stung by 20 bees, it's problematic.
Poison, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was like an absolute catastrophe. It completely immobilized a 120-man infantry company with machine guns and smoke and grenades and explosives. Didn't matter. Like, we were completely worthless, helpless.
Isn't it amazing what can bring you down? Now, is there a new SOP in place for that?
I'm sure it's run. That's the only thing you can do. You're not gonna. There's nothing else that you can do. It was crazy. I never had seen how quickly a group of it was several thousands of bees. It was ridiculous. The hive was enormous. Like, we had to wait it was hours and hours before we and then we had to put a whole. We put so much smoke out there that the bees couldn't get to where we were, and then like run like a rescue
Oh my
mission for
gosh.
all the guys, for the people who were least stung, to go recover all the equipment, because I mean it was just a yard sale of shit everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. Yeah. You don't ever plan for that or think of anything like
No,
that
no,
ever
the killer
happening.
bee attack is not in a manual. Like,
I mean, snakes, not killer bees. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's a pretty bad, but and it was a live fire thing. Oh my gosh. Live fire training exercise has got to be so fun,
yeah,
especially at your level and what you got to do. I mean,
yeah,
it's one thing, you get to train and you train in the military. That's all you do. You train to shoot something, you train to shoot something, you train to shoot something, and you never really get to shoot anything other
right.
than the
But
target.
live fire day is the day that, like, I tell people, like I signed up for the army to shoot guns, jump out of planes, and blow stuff up. Like that's why I
Huh?
joined the army. And for the people who are in the army and know better, like 99% of the time, that's not what you're doing. You're doing
Yeah.
all this other stuff. But on those times where you do get to do that, like everybody is switched on. You're like, man, it's game day. Like it's Super Bowl. We get to go do all the things that you wanted to do: shoot live ammo, use live explosives, all that stuff. That's the fun part.
Oh,
But
you
we
do
didn't anticipate
you
it would be attacked.
you do miss that, and I did get to film 2 times on Top Gear with the military. Once with the 101st Airborne, they chased, Tanner, one of our hosts, through posts there at Fort Campbell, and then the other time we went to NTC, and, we had some snipers chasing down our hosts, and then one of our hosts got to fire off some rounds in one of their tanks downrange, so it's so
Oh
much
yeah,
fun when you get to go back and work with them. Like I say this all the time, and it's just, and when you get to walk away, and it's a different dynamic, and it's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It is. It's fun. The
Mm.
other one that is probably noteworthy and hilarious. So I'm a student in the Special Forces qualification course, and we're in our final exercise. So this exercise is called Robin Sage. Special Forces community has been conducting this exercise in North Carolina, and it's spread out over like 6 counties. It's not just on Bragg; it's like all around the
That's
community
crazy.
around there. There are role players from local community, like sheriffs and stuff. They're all part of this exercise. And so, Special Forces and most people don't know this. Like, we're not Navy SEALs, we're not Rangers, we're not designed to go attack stuff and blow stuff up. The real reason Special Forces exists is to go to another country, link up with people from that country, a guerrilla force, if you will, train them up, and get them to fight on our behalf. That's what we do. So Robin Sage exercise is set up to do just that. But the thing is, you need this guerrilla force. Somebody has to play the guerrilla force. And for Robin Sage, it's what they typically do is they take non-combat soldiers from Bragg. So they go to DISCOM, people who do supply or transportation or cooks or whatever. And so they gather up these people, and these soldiers will come out and they'll play the guerrillas. So they'll be the guerrilla fighters that don't know how to do stuff,
Nice.
which is generally accurate. Like if you're, a 71 Lima and you're a paperwork clerk, you're not spending any time in the woods, shooting guns and blowing shit up. So the soldiers generally they like it. They're like, cool, we get to go do some special forces stuff. These guys are kind of train us, and so we're my student detachment is playing the role of a special forces 18, and we're training these guerrillas. And one of the things that and everybody gets evaluated. So like uh, we have a couple officers on the team. We take turns being the detachment commander, and then while you're doing a task, the instructors are evaluating you on how well you're doing. Is he doing the things that he's supposed to do? Well, one of the tasks for the medics is like the care and keeping of the food, and so that when you get to this guerrilla camp, they have some pigs and some chickens and rabbits, and the medic's job is to humanely kill the pigs, rabbits, chickens, and teach the guerrillas how to kill, butcher, and prepare this food. And so we're in Robin Sage, and it's like February, March. It's freaking freezing cold, and it's like this is like 19. We can look it up. It's like February or March 1999. It is ridiculously cold for North Carolina. Like we're in the teens, which is not
Oof.
usual for that part of North Carolina.
North Kakalaki, yeah.
And so we we were in this guerrilla camp, and we had to move from one camp to another for whatever reason. So we had to load up everybody, all the stuff, put it on his truck, and go to a new camp. Um, and the truck is a deuce and a half, so it's head height
Yes.
to put stuff up there. And but we have to get these pigs and chickens in there, and this pig is probably 200 pounds, right? It's not a giant pig, but it's 200-pound pig. And so trying to get the pig on to transport a pig that doesn't want to go on there. So we had a harness that the medic had rigged up. It looked like a dog, like a 4-way harness.
Yeah.
Because pigs, they don't like to be led around by ropes, right? It's not a thing for them. And so they're trying to drag this pig to get him on the truck. The pig's having none of it. He's squealing like the pig thinks he's going to get killed, right? Like something's not
Yeah.
right.
Going to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah. So finally, this big country-fed kid just snatches up this pig, throws him over his back, like goes over there and throws him on the truck. So we get the pigs, the chickens, rabbits, everybody on. We go to this new spot, and this new camp now is not well developed. The old camp we left, it was like my Naked and Afraid camp. We had benches, racks, everything else. No, this new spot, there's nothing, right? No fire. It was freezing cold out, and so the medic was like, "Hey, if this pig dies, which is our food source, because they kind of tell you when you're allowed to harvest the animals, because they bring the vet out and the vet evaluates how well he did it. So you can't kill the pig till the vet shows up. But anyway, so his pig had to survive overnight, and it was ridiculous cold. So this medic, one of our medics, who was terrified of failing if this pig died, he wraps up the pig in his poncho liner, so the pig doesn't die from cold during the night, right? So this pig had pissed pissed and shit all over. It was disgusting. It was terrible. So like the next day, like the pig made it. It didn't die from hypothermia. So now it's time. The vet shows up. So now it's pig killing time, right? So the medic's going to get evaluated on how humanely he kills the pig. And so this is, as you can imagine, this is a big event, right? Pretty much everything stops. So the medic he's given a class to this kid on how we're going to kill the pig, because you can't fire a gunshot because that would let people around know that we're shooting stuff. So he gives this kid a class on. He's got a hatchet, like a standard roofing style hatchet, right? Blade on one end, hammer in on the other, and we had one of the guys on the ODA. He had grown up. He was a butcher. His family had.
Oh my gosh!
That's what they do, is they butcher pigs. So he's the expert, and he's kind of helping the medic shepherd how this is going to go, right? But the guerrillas have to do it. You can't. The A team can't do it. You got to get these kids, these untrained, barely trained soldiers to do this. And so they get in the class. They're like, hey, we're not gonna panic the pig. We're gonna come alongside, and you're gonna hit the pig right between the eyes with the hammer side of the hatchet and give him the death blow. And so the kid who's doing it is like, okay, he was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, right? And so someone else, we had tied the pig to a tree so that, because it did not respond well to the leash, right? So he is holding onto the harness of the pig like he's been instructed, and he goes to give the pig this death blow, but the pig, either the guy had bad aim or the pig moved his head. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he gives the pig this glancing blow. It's like hits him like on the ear and puts this gouge in the side of his head. That's not a death blow. Like, it didn't crush the skull to get the brain. And now the pig knows the gig's up. like these people, they're trying to kill me. So he takes the fuck off. And he's tied with this rope to this tree, but we're all standing around this pig to watch what happens. And now pandemonium sets in. Now the pig is running at 200-pound pig running full tilt with a line that is now about 1 foot off the ground, like a clothesline. And everybody is trying to get out of the way of this pig that is now running on the tree as fast as he can, is getting concentrically smaller every lap he takes around the tree because the rope is getting smaller. And so, finally, Everybody
Oh my
got
God.
out of the way. And so probably the butcher's kid who had done this a million times before goes over and snatches the hatchet out of this kid's hand and jumps on the pig and bashes his brains out like what's the movie? Like it's like Lord of the Flies. Like I would describe it as the Lord of the Flies scene. Just he's on this pig, just bashing this pig's brain in, and blood's going everywhere, and everybody is their axe off at this catastrophe of
Oh
a
my
pig.
God. Oh my God. Dude, that's
It was,
crazy.
it was the most macabre. Like most things in the military, you make light of. It's like black humor, and like you couldn't help but laugh at
Yeah.
this unbelievable carnage
Oh.
that just ensued. And everybody's trying to give this pig a good death. It wasn't like wasn't wanton. No one was trying to torture the pig. But yeah, it was quite the scene.
So was that was not a pass, I take it.
No, actually, they did give the medic a pass because he gave the proper
Oh, they did.
instructions. But
Oh, okay, okay.
the kid just didn't do it. You can't. You can't. It is what it is. So, in the end,
Lesson
the pig
learned.
did get relatively humanely dispatched. It just took a little bit. So,
Oh my God, Bo, that is so funny. Oh, well, thank you for that great military story. I mean, I didn't think I was going to hear something like that. That's gold, man. Thanks I appreciate it. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on. GoForDonny, Bo. Man, it's been such a great time catching up. And I can't wait to ask you some more stuff when we get over to Switching Channel 2. So, man, it's always good seeing you, Bo. You take care over there. And as my mother-in-law always says, hashtag HTFU. HTFU.
okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it in a sec. But
Okay.
hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it, Bo.
All right, you bet, brother.
Later, man.
All right. Bye.
Production for Donny.
GoForDonny. Locations for Donny. GoForDonny.
Habitat for Donny.
GoForDonny. Hey Donny, what the hell are they doing?